I don't know. I know these people as people, and so when they see me, it's like, I don't know.
Well, you're only half right, because not all people are people. Not all people are people. There's like 10% of all people on Earth are werewolves. And then probably 2% are golems, like they're literally made of sand and were created by a sorcerer.
That's true.
And if you punch them, not that I advocate violence, but if you were, let's say if they were struck in some way by any object, you'd watch them disintegrate into sand. You'd be like, wasn't that a person?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Hello, Sonic City Council is now in session. Thank you once again for inviting us into your lives, whether it's through your headphones, your car, your home, your mind. We appreciate you, fellow citizens. Davey Sipes.
Hey, Jersey Damocles, good to see you.
Oh my.
Welcome back. Hey team, how you doing? I'm Maximo Bongiorno, the Italian lumberjack.
Oh my.
You may proceed. Man, that rings so sweetly through the... I think that was ringing through the arch top.
I was gonna say through
Definitely
the
the
arch top and
resonator.
the resonator.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
Every time I smack
Same
the
gavel
gavel.
they used on Pet Sounds.
A bit
If you don't get it, you'll never get it.
Yeah, just Fred Armisen Recording Studio or Portlandia Recording Studio. If you haven't seen that bit, do yourself
Or
a
if
favor.
Jesse tells you, then you'll
Yeah,
get it.
yeah. Well, I wanna bring people.
I know,
in.
you're the bringer, you're the
Yeah.
giver.
Do you hear that snap? You hear that clap?
Yes?
Sorry. that's-
Are we testing my hearing? Because it's bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Okay.
anybody listening through headphones right now probably hates my guts for doing that more than once an episode.
He apologizes,
Yeah,
don't you?
my bad, fellow citizens.
His bad.
So
Here we are.
yes, here we are for another week of diving into a creative's person perspective, figuring out how they tick, their process, the whole thing. I'm endlessly fascinated by this, so we will keep exploring it.
Yes, we shall.
To get the formalities out of the way, thank you to Amp Music in Lancaster, California, who is helping to bring you this podcast. If you are in the high desert area where we happen to be recording, or if you're looking for online lessons as well, yeah, go to ampedmusic.com. I believe that's the website. It'll be below or above.
Listed above these days.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Wherever that description is, please go to that link if you're interested in getting some lessons. Also, too, thank you once again to Max Taylor for recording these episodes at his studio, Desert Sound Studio in the high desert. We've got an awesome live drum room out there that you can't see. There is two vocal and amp sort of rooms here. And yeah, just got an awesome recording setup. So if you need any of that done, Max is your person to do that. So
He is your person.
yes, why are we
For
here?
a fee.
Yeah. well, of
We're here to
course.
talk to an outrageously talented, fantastically lovely human being who goes by the name of...
Meredith Lamarche.
Yeah, confetti streaming from ceiling, hearts and smile emojis dancing across my screen.
Eventually.
Eventually what?
Well, we're.
Oh, we
yeah.
eventually get to graphics, or...
Yeah, that's
That's
like
fair.
it's like the Monty Python bit where the cue card comes in and it's
Toy. Yeah, thank
so
you.
just I make
He
a
has to
mental
help me
note
sometimes.
eventually I would like this to get to the point where we can be so ridiculous to where we can have confetti coming down from the ceiling when we announce an opening guest.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And when they're really important, like goat's blood, like just fucking bursting onto us.
Well, I mean, if we're
Too far? His eyes said, that's too much for me right now.
Well, I was gonna say, I feel like you're just going after one particular person, potentially in the comments, but I'll leave that at that.
Oh! Maybe I was subconsciously on the reel, though.
Yeah, but
we'll sort that out later.
But let's move on.
Moving forward.
So Meredith is a singer-songwriter, and she is someone who's been in the LA music scene for about 10 years or so.
Yeah.
And she is just a wonderful person, really talented singer, and just somebody that, as much as I've known her over the years and just like seen her play and things like that, I haven't actually gotten to talk to her about her creative process. And she just released a new song. And so there will be, again, if you want to hear any of the music or get to know who these artists are, please check the description and go to their Spotify, follow them on Instagram. And
It's part of your homework.
yes, and I'm having a bad podcast moment.
What is it, brother?
The name of the new song.
Back to You.
Back to You, yes. So go in the description, check out Back to You. It's got a really cool, I would say, California vibey thing going on.
It's like where her kind of neo-soul origins, if you will, meet the Topanga Canyon sound style vibe.
Yeah, I would say so for sure.
Yeah.
And she's had, a couple, different directions she's gone in. Her debut album, Lamarche, was just named after her.
Because that's her last name. Get it?
Yeah.
Come on.
She was doing the sort of laid back acoustic thing for a minute. So she had just a guitar player, percussionist, and just basically, her singing. And that was sort of the vibe of the group. And now she's gone into more of a produced sound and still has her same band, but like kind of changing directions, and has had a lot of positive feedback on this song and a lot of listens and responses to it so far. And, with her kind of changing directions, I want to just see where she's at and catch up and do the thing.
That's a great idea, dude.
Yeah.
Why don't we?
We have a great idea right here. Let's do it. All right, Meredith, thank you so much for joining us today.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. It's so good to see you. It's been I don't know, even longer than the whole COVID thing. I think we did a gig, I think together,
Let's
I don't know,
calculate.
I don't know, kind of 2 years ago now, maybe 2.5, 3, something
Y'all played
like
a
that.
gig?
Yeah.
Nice.
With my band and her band Lamarche shared the bill on a show out here in the high desert. And
Yeah. I remember I was working somewhere
That was a
else.
great show. That was
gig I
a
couldn't
very
get to.
fun
Dang
night.
it.
yeah, that
Where'd
was.
y'all play up here when you did that one?
We did it. I was gonna say we did it at a local spot out here, and I just rented it out and basically just kind of
Oh, you put on the show.
yeah, booked the whole lineup, got some lights, set up some chairs, and it was
Why
it was
not?
cool.
You know how.
But yeah,
It was
and
very cool.
yeah, and I wanted to get Meredith in here today because she's got a brand new song out right now, and I also realized that as much as we've kind of bumped into each other and I've seen you play, I don't really know a whole lot about your creative process and how you write or compose. So I wanted to get started with sort of what Davey has dubbed the term origin story on this
Origin story.
podcast. And talk a little bit about, yes, exactly, there you go. Yes, sort of a namaste moment a little bit.
Yeah, can we put in
I
the
love
music hit
that.
right there, right after Meredith said origin story? Can
Yeah,
we get a
Ma-
little twinkle, Max?
Yeah, Max could dub in a singing bowl, perhaps. I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah.
Little chime. He knows how. He's great.
Yeah. No, I want to kind of dig into how you got into music, how you started singing, and, where you're from originally, St. Louis, and then sort of the transition moving to LA, and kind of begin with that.
Oh, the origin story. What a good
Yes.
one. That's so fun. I actually haven't even been able to share it in so long. It's interesting. Once you've come
that's
so far,
exciting.
you forget.
Yeah. You're just living in the moment, and you go, oh yeah, I've done a lot of things. A lot of
right.
stuff
Oh,
has
this
happened.
stuff has happened. Yeah. Why am I not a millionaire yet? Just kidding. It's coming for all of us. So started in St. Louis. Started from St. Louis. Now we here. Sorry.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey. And super musical family. My mom plays guitar and sings. She's very folksy, kind of like Joni Mitchell vibe. And
Nice.
it's such a dream, I'm telling you. And I'm one of 5 daughters. So there's 5 of us in my house, and we're all pretty musical. We grew up singing and harmonizing and just fighting over boys and hairbrushes, but also mainly singing and jamming out. So that was, that was kind of like, that planted the seed of realizing that this is what I wanted to do. And it's something that I'm super passionate about. And how I used to be really shy about my voice. People would come up and they'd say, "Oh, thank you so much for sharing," or whatever. And I used to, "Oh, no, 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 it was, please." I would like try to shrug it off. And somebody once told me that, like, you shouldn't shy away from God's gifts. Like, you should be grateful for them and you should share them. Like, that's the whole point of why, like, this is one of the things that was you were touched with. So when I started kind of like fully embracing it, oh, this might be for me for a reason. Then I finally started trying to like actually go for it and perform. It's so funny because in college, I went to Missouri State in Springfield, like a cute little small college town. My friends would always ask me to sing for them, and y'all, I would make them turn around and turn off the lights, and it would take me at least 30 minutes of coaxing, and I would be crying. It was such, oh God, it was like heart panging. I could perform on a stage in front of like hundreds of people. I did theater my whole childhood, but
nice.
get me in a room with 5 people and they're like, "Sing to us now," and I would lose my godforsaken mind. Like, I just couldn't deal. It was so intimate and it was so difficult. I'm telling you, it's like still to this day the biggest joke.
Right.
It's like trying to get this bitch to sing was like the worst. Can I curse, by the way? Because
absolutely,
whatever you want to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. I mean, I can try and be
yeah.
mindful, but best to just
Hey,
let it roll.
I rarely am. So I don't think it
Be
matters.
mindful of being yourself. If you feel like,
Love it.
yeah.
There he goes with the turn of phrase.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
I'm hitting the gavel on that
You
phrase.
hit it.
Boom. Boom.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
Bringing it, bro.
Bringing it. This is actually reminding me of like the story of when I first started performing in a band was in college, and I had we had this really cool piano bar in our college town. And I went with my girlfriend for, I think it was her 21st birthday, and she kept trying to get me on stage to sing. It was like karaoke piano bar, but they'd play live.
Right.
And they kept passing her request by, and she's like, "This is messed up." So she like kept handing them 20s, and people just kept outbidding her. So at the end of the night, she finally had enough and enough to drink, and she like did a full on like sit in until I got to go sing her a song for her birthday on the mic. And so I finally did. And then it happened to be the sax player for that band was forming a band. And so he afterwards had asked me to go and to check out his band. And it was a really dope reggae group called The Seed. Actually, they were first called Solstice, but like Soulstice.
Okay, gotcha.
Called it. Really cool vibes. And so I checked them out and I sang background for them for a while. And then that sax player ended up breaking off and then wanting to form his own band. So then I fronted that band, and that band was called The Hidden Fever. And it was kind of a rock band, actually. Similar to Rogue, actually, when I think about it. Pretty similar. Because we had like soulful, we had soulful melodies. We had some like amazing guitar licks. We had a badass drummer. We had sax player and bass player. And we eventually changed the name from The Hidden Fever to Meredith Lamarche and the Bandoliers.
Wow. Then you frontlining. Whoa.
Yeah.
Hey, now.
Full on. And we played a bunch of shows during college, made kind of like, we had like a little mini following, which was amazing. Right. And then when I graduated, I just knew I was going to move to California and do the damn thing and do the whole starving artist vibe for a while. Yeah. So that was sad.
Courage.
It was sad too, because the band, kind of broke up when I left, because that's just, I think it was hard to keep everything going. And
right.
So there was sadness in that, because you kind of felt like you were like letting your bandmates down, but also on to the next, basically. So I sold everything, all my shit, including my car. And a girlfriend and I packed all of our shit into her car, and then we drove cross country and made it to California. Yeah, we actually shared an actual bedroom for the first year, I think we were out here. Dope spot
Wow.
though. Santa Monica, 6th Street in Colorado. Like, whoop. Right
Oh,
where
you
want
come
to
out
be.
here and start balling on my territory. Okay.
Balling out
I was
there.
like, I never got closer
Yeah.
than South Bay to the beach. That's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Yeah.
Although, what up, San Pedro? I love you.
Right.
You're not as scenic as 6th in Colorado, though.
No, well, and that's
cool.
yeah, that's
nice.
super cool.
That's such a cool thing.
Well, and that kind of, I think, environment would be more maybe encouraging creatively in some ways than if you had just moved into just some, horrible area of just, like totally run down
Less
or just
stressful,
kind
right?
of sketchy or, I don't know. I think that might encourage you to keep going where, otherwise it might not have.
That's so true. Very true.
You know who they caught over there, though, a couple years back?
Oh,
Whitey
God.
Bulger himself, man.
Oh, in Santa Monica?
Yeah, that's where he'd been hiding for like 15 years.
Wait,
Oh,
who?
see.
Whitey Bulger. You remember? He's the Boston guy who was like head of the crime
Yeah,
syndicate
yeah,
over
yeah,
there.
yeah.
He was a bad dude. And then he escaped he'd been on the run for like 30 years.
He's a gangster?
That's the guy.
Real life gangster?
Yeah, like The Departed, that
Yeah.
movie by Scorsese, it's based on that cat.
What?
So Nicholson's character is Whitey Bulger for real.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
And they finally caught him in Santa Monica.
When?
That's
One of the
crazy.
neighbors recognized him and said, "Yo, that's the guy."
Yeah, well, hiding in a warm climate.
Well, you have to.
Yeah.
I mean, trust me, when you're getting older, I'm taking you to like Puerto Rico with me.
We're gonna
I want to keep you for a long time, and you guys don't do good in the cold over
We're
time.
gonna retire in
you
Florida.
Light-skins. Yeah.
You light skins.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's so funny. Well, you
look
have
out for
to.
Yeah, right? You
Yeah.
got to.
Yeah. No, totally. I'm down. Whenever you want to
Hell
make that
yeah.
move to,
Hell yeah.
Florida sort of retirement, and then we'll just, like futz around and play shuffleboard in the middle of the day, then let's do it. We'll live
Yeah.
that. We'll live that
I'm ready for
leisurely life.
shuffleboard. I love it.
Yeah. I want to hit pause on this for a second
Oh,
because
snap.
Snap.
This is something that I feel like everybody's experience is a little bit different, and it's such a huge life shift to go through. And everybody wants to talk about sort of the moment when they had some sort of success or when they got the ball rolling on something or when things were picking up with this. But I think people should appreciate that people go through this all the time. They're moving to LA, New York, Nashville,
Yeah.
Austin, some sort of major hub because I want to go do something, right? Be a creative person, an artist. And people, will romanticize that, but nobody puts themselves through the process of like actually being in the mindset of now I have to sell my stuff and completely uproot my life.
Yeah.
So how, if I can ask, how old were you roughly when this was happening and what was kind of your mindset at the time while this was going on?
I think I was, thanks, that was a great question, by the way. I was,
Thank you.
That's real. That's like some realness right there. I was 23. I believe I was 23. And I mean, truth be told, there were like, I wrote melodies, but I hadn't written songs, or at least not to perform before moving out. So, there was like one sweet member of my band's kind of like, you're not gonna be able to do this. Like, what do you, like, let's just be real, And so,
Right.
and so you have these things, you're like, well, I mean, fuck it. At least there's palm trees at the end of the day. Like, let's just do this. But it was terrifying because it was starting completely over, right? I had with my previous bands, we'd released like 2 or 3 albums. And so this was starting from nothing. And I obviously didn't have a band. I don't play an instrument. So I had to like figure out who I'm going to collaborate with really fast, right? When I got there. And I think I had like a major culture shock because coming from the sweet,
The Midwest girl coming to
the
big bad city.
y'all.
Yeah.
Not only
Yeah.
did I stop straightening my hair,
Yeah.
but my first job was in Santa Monica Place, that mall, Santa Monica Place, and I worked at Kenneth Cole.
Oh.
Ooh.
And they
Fancy.
were like,
Kinda
they had
bougie.
like a big grand opening, and like the Kenneth Cole came, and we had shit, what's his name?
he
Super
was dead.
famous.
I forget with stores like that when it's named Kenneth Cole, there is
Yeah.
somebody named
There's a
Kenneth
dude,
Cole.
yeah.
Legitimately, the Kenneth Cole. We had a big.
Yeah.
Neo came. Neo performed. Like we had a
Neil's
whole
the shit,
whole freaking thing,
dude.
right? And I just remember the clientele coming in, and I'm not throwing shade to LA because I've been here a decade now, so I obviously love it. But like, there was a
Right.
lot of this.
Yeah,
That's what we look like.
There was a lot of
It's genetic now.
yeah.
There was a lot of that. There was a lot of like, there's no how do you do's and how are you and, you know, like neighborly waves. It was just a really,
Yeah.
it was a weird, I felt like I'd entered a whole new world, which I had.
Yep.
And what was interesting is that people started pointing me out, like, you're not from here. Where are you from? Because I guess I was too like jolly or something, or I just had
You were too much of a human being.
I was
still.
too much. I was too much.
Yeah.
Like, why are you so nice?
Yeah, yeah. How are you doing? Oh, where are you from? You're obviously not from
we don't
here.
do that here.
Yeah, yeah.
That's so quaint.
Dude, they
Right.
like pointed me out quick too. It was intense.
Right.
So I think there was like a rough adjustment there for a second, which luckily I think I got over it pretty quickly, but
Good.
I definitely had those feelings of like, oh, these are not my people. Am I going to find my people? Like what even this fear? And the first thing I did was I listed that I was looking for musicians to collaborate with on Craigslist. So
Okay.
this is like 10 years ago now. And
Oof.
I know. And so it was a little shady. I got a response from two people, these two guys. And we like made plans to go meet up at the promenade. And I'm like telling my girlfriend, here's where I'm going. Here's their information in case you never see me again. We know who stole me.
Yeah,
Come after
seriously.
them. And, because I'm like still a 23-year-old girl, like that's pretty naive little one now that I think
Yeah,
back.
well, and also you're pretty nervous just in general because you know more of the lay of the land of your hometown than you do here. And so it's, you don't know who you're running into. So
Exactly. And it was so funny when I met up with them, they ended up being awesome guys that I worked with for a bit, for like the remainder of that year. I took pictures of their licenses and then, they said, hey, we're going to go. We have a studio if you want to go like jam out. And I was like, cool, let's go. And I didn't have a car. So I'm like walking over to their car and I'm like, sorry. And I had to take a picture of their license plates on their car and like a picture of them. I was like, just in case you kill me, like we need.
oh,
They were like, good for you. We're proud of you for doing this. I was like, okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Good.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm like, until there's a world where you don't have to do that because you shouldn't. I'm like, that's the right reaction from a dude.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
And I'm really glad that I had the foresight to do that. It ended up being great. And they were both guitar players. And we ended up working together. They flew me out to Santa Cruz at one point in time to record something, which I don't even think I ever got the recordings now that I think about it, but it was a wild ride. It was really fun.
Sounds like a Santa Cruz experience.
Yeah.
It was a
We were just
blast.
I don't remember anything that happens when I'm in Santa Cruz.
That's fair.
That's fair.
That is fair. That's very fair.
Well, I was just thinking too, you're talking about living in the moment and just going from, moment to moment literally and then stopping going, oh yeah, did I ever get those recordings back? And it's like most, some non-artist people would be like, well, yeah, would you know that? Like you would know that, right? And it's like, I don't know, like that could slip through the cracks.
Not at the pace you have to stay productive in what we
Yeah.
do. No, it's like those things can slide past you all the time.
Yeah.
So you're right. People don't know.
Yeah.
It is crazy though. You're right. Like,
Right?
Yeah, like to me, you say that, and I'm just like, oh yeah, that's like totally
That's
a
natural.
realistic question. Like, did I ever get those recordings back? Did I have them? Did I lose them?
who even knows? Oh, it's
Yeah,
so
who knows?
strange. It's so
Yeah.
funny. But
Anyway,
as you do in Santa Cruz,
As one will do.
yeah.
who's to say?
What's recorded in Santa Cruz stays in Santa Cruz.
Damn
apparently.
straight. That is damn straight. I remember I even had this job that I was supposed to get back to, and it was like this crazy figuring out how to get me on a plane. They had to buy me a ticket last minute, and then I ended up missing it, so I got fired from my job, and it was like, oh no, but awesome. It was so dramatic.
The Kenneth Cole gig?
Yeah, it was the Kenneth Cole gig.
Oh, man.
It was the Kenneth Cole gig. Yeah, it was meant to be, though. It was bigger and better.
Oh, yeah. Yes, absolutely. So
They screwed up though.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, and so now you're collaborating with people, you're getting ingrained into like kind of the music scene, you're feeling things out, and then where does it go from there?
Yeah. By the way, that was like full on. One of them lived in Topanga Canyon. So I would just go out there and stay for like a week at a time here and there. And it was the consummate like LA musician vibe, you know what I mean? Like we were going to the hippie parties and like just like jamming out, and everyone is just like living in tree houses and just the best, the absolute best. Total surf life, incredible. But that was still, I was mainly doing covers. I wasn't writing yet. And one day on the beach, I was out with some friends and we were just like living our best fairy hippie lives. And I ran into oh my gosh, I was walking on the boardwalk in Venice Beach and somebody was performing. And I was like vibing hard with the song. So I stopped and I'm like, yeah. And he's like, come over and sing with me. I was like, no. He's like, do it. So I came over and I sang with him. We like shared a thing. And then it's always just like weird happenstance moments. And then I'm walking away and this guy comes up and he pulls me aside and he's like, what's up? Like, are you performing? I'm a booker for Sunset Boulevard. Can I like put you in a show? And I was like, yeah, sure. I had no shit at all, like no music, no band, no anything. I didn't even play an instrument, but I was like, yeah, that sounds so reasonable. Just book me. And so he booked me for the Roxy. And I think I had like 4 weeks, no, less than a month of time to like create a show of songs.
That's not just writing it, that's rehearsing it and making it sound convincing.
My mind is just reeling.
Yeah.
Just insane. Yeah. So and I was like feeling some type of way that day. So I was like, cool, no worries. Like, never written a song in my life. Let's fucking do it. Like,
we'll figure it out.
Just totally rolling the dice. It's so funny.
Oh my God.
So I remember walking back to my friends and they're like, where'd you go? I thought you just went to the bathroom. I was like, y'all, I just booked a show at the Roxy. And they were like, I'm sorry, excuse me?
Right.
Bitch, what do you mean? That's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
So then I got into kind of like hyperdrive and I called my dear sweet friend, Shawn Gilmer, who you know.
Yeah, buddy.
Do you know him too?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I was gonna say.
I know him, yeah.
Well, I was gonna say I don't know if you've ever met him, but I've been working with Shawn at our local performing arts center here in the High Desert now for, like 8-9 years. Like,
LPAC guy, right?
LPAC guy.
I've met him for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, 8 years. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So me and him, I've known him now for a long time.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
He's the best. He is so talented. Like, so Shawn and I are both Baha'is. We're members of the Baha'i faith. So we know each other. I used to, every year, his father is also like legend status, Van Gilmer. He's like an incredible composer and musician. He's the director of the Baha'i House of Worship choir that's in Chicago. We have a big temple in every continent, and the one for North America is in Chicago.
Yeah.
And for the past 13 years, minus the last 2 because COVID's like rude, but they have a big Baha'i choral music festival. And so Baha'is from all over the world get together for like a long weekend and we practice and perform choral and spiritual music. And then we perform it in the House of Worship for Chicago, basically for like hundreds of people. And we do a couple shows and it's incredible. And I started going to that when I was 17, maybe 17.
Oh, wow.
And Shawn's father, Van, is the one who, he's the director, right? So he puts it on, he's like, runs the show.
Right.
So I met Shawn through that because I would go every year with my mom and my sister. And so we were just
that's
like,
cool.
right. And we just vibed because we have
Oh.
similar, you know, kind of like neo soul music vibes. And he's also just like hilarious. You know, I mean, you know, he's hilarious. He's just the best
yeah.
person to be around. Like,
Yeah, I've never met Shawn's dad, but if I just knowing Shawn and his sense of humor, it's like, well, that's got to come from somewhere. Like
Yeah.
when often you meet, you know, one of your buddies or just has like that sense
It
of
ain't
humor.
hard to tell.
Well, yeah, it just makes you laugh every time you're around him, pretty much, and that's Shawn
Nice.
with me. And so
Yep.
it's like, oh, I imagine you got that from somewhere, you know.
exactly. Not, I mean,
Yeah.
and his sister the same. His mother, rest her soul, was also an absolute angel. Like, it's just certain families are super blessed, and he is one of like the super blessed of the bunch.
Yeah.
I feel.
Right.
Anyway, so I would see him all through. I was going through college, and I told him, "Hey, I'm going to move out to LA." He lives in Palmdale, so
Yeah.
I told him, "Yo, I'm going to come out, and we're going to link up at some point and make some music together." He's like, "Let's do it. I love it." So I booked the show at the Roxy, and I called him, and I'm like, "Yo, we have to create magic like tomorrow
Hey,
because we're performing."
So about Link, how long was your set? Do you remember?
I think an hour. I think we played an hour.
No.
Yeah.
An hour?
This is simply mind-boggling shit. Right
I was
here.
going to say, like,
I can't even right now.
20, 30 minutes is like, that's, if you, depending on how your songs are, you could get away with maybe like,
Bro, that was the threshold of my guesstimate. Like, I didn't think an hour was conceivable.
yeah.
Because I'd be like, no, nobody can fucking pull that off.
That's-
starting from where you were.
Dude.
Like, it's
I
like,
mean-
you go from having to pull a rabbit out of your sleeve to like basically like out of your ass at that point, going from 20
Yeah.
minutes to an hour, and you're like, how are we going to do this?
How do you want me to do that?
yeah.
The best visual ever. Oh my god.
Well, I'm just saying, it's
No,
like,
that's a magic trick.
yeah. Well, because it's like, not only, like I was saying, you have to write all of these songs, so that's full on, you know, the chord structure and the main melody and lyrics, which is already like could take a minute, and then you have to like any other arrangement of how the song is going to go. And so it's not just I'm going to plunk out chords for 3 or 4 minutes at a time and then do 6 reps of that and then okay, now we're done. It's like no,
Exactly.
that's,
Ooh, I like that. That's like the gym rat.
yeah, well, I'm
Write
just
the
saying
song.
it's not like all right, I'm just gonna plunk out these
just gonna do
for
6 reps, bro.
yeah, no, you gotta like think of the whole song, and then not only that, you have to have it down enough to where it sounds convincing, to where you don't just want to play the show and then like tank or do okay.
Just
You want to kill
improvise it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. Which I guess in some ways, I don't think I felt that pressure because I was still so naive, you know, and just
Right.
like so green to it. So I was like,
Yeah.
cool, I'm playing the Roxy, like my first gig. This is like
This was your...
no sweat, like whatever. It's just so.
I moved to LA and I stay in Topanga Canyon and I get a gig at the
Yeah.
Roxy, and this is how I'm living.
Like we're just gonna do this.
Yeah.
So Shawn laughed in my face, and
of course he did. I can hear it right now.
like, you're one crazy bee. Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah.
But he's
yeah.
also like down. Let's do it. So he plays keys. So I had originally assumed like I'll go out there. We'll work on some keyboard and I'll do some melodies and we'll like figure it out. But the guy that I was dating at the time, his cousin played guitar, and he had a really cool. He had like a really cool groove that he would get into his guitar work. Like he would pick really interesting chords. And we had always kind of messed around. And I think maybe Shawn came out to visit, because, you know, from Palm, come out to visit. It's so funny. It's like ages away. He came down to LA and I think stayed a few nights, and we just tried to like create something. So the three of us just started jamming out and writing, and we literally produced like a whole album's worth of songs
Nice.
within like, oh my God, I wish he was here for me to ask him, maybe a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. I think maybe.
Are you gonna, or do I have to?
It's good.
That also gets a holy guacamole.
Yeah.
Which is my patented catchphrase when something blows my mind.
No, hey,
crazy.
It was
I was
crazy.
already.
That's crazy, dude.
Sean's on
You guys
the.
are amazing.
Yeah,
It's
Sean's on the
insane.
list of people to get in here to talk with.
You
and
have
then,
to. Oh my
well,
gosh.
Well, and I was going to say, who knows, like with getting vaccinated and all of that, like I would love to have you guys come down to the studio and, and like
100
just
million
do the,
percent.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then
That
just
would be
do
so
the,
fun.
keys, vocal, guitar thing, I think that would
Hell
be pretty
yes.
cool.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Although
Yeah.
he chose to not do keys and instead took on the cajon. So
That's right.
and he's not like a drummer. He did do some drumming actually when he lived in DC. What's that type of music called? Not reggae.
Go-go music.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, go-go.
yes. Yeah, he ripped some go-go music. So I mean, and he just has like fucking undeniable rhythm. So
Right. Right.
so then we found this really cool sound of like these, he would do some dope go-go / hip hop beats. And then Javier Contreras, he was our first guitarist. He would just put some like really sweet random chords together, right? And then like we had lyrics busted out and then it would just like all fused. It literally wasn't even us. There was a channel of sorts that just like wanted to be born and we just allowed the container for it is really what it felt like. And Jesse, you've still heard some of these songs we still play. Like they were like,
Yeah.
I mean, Heading to the Desert, that was one of the OGs. It's just so crazy to think. Oh my goodness. So yeah, so we did that. We did like, I guess you would kind of call it like a blackout days. We did about almost 2.5, 3 weeks of just rehearsing, writing, rehearsing, and then we performed at the Roxy, and it was freaking awesome. It was really, really cool.
That's cool.
Really cool.
That's cool.
It was the upstairs Roxy on top. What was it? On the Rocks.
Oh, on the rocks.
On the Rocks, yeah. Which is perfect because that's like a more, since we were an acoustic band, so it was like a very intimate, like warm.
Good vibe there.
Good vibe there. The sound was amazing. That's like my preferred, which is funny because I used to make people, like I would cry when I had to sing in intimate settings. And now that's like what I far prefer when performing.
Well, can we just say like, this is, I think, kind of the quintessential, like, I think what an artist has to go through to, and we're not even talking about, the stereotypical idea of what success is, right? We're just talking about being able to do the thing and being able to perform and express yourself. You went from turn around, don't look at me, to, hey, you have a show in a month, an hour, you got to fill an hour with, and you have absolutely nothing, like not an idea, not one lyric, a melody, and you signed up for that, and you were like, even if you were nervous about it potentially, you went, yeah, of course. And it's just, you got to look at like the idea of growth in that and just like kind of go, man, I mean, despite whatever anyone's idea of success is, you just look at personal growth and like what you have to put yourself through, and it's like, man, that's a huge leap for anybody. That would be like if you were deathly afraid and like could barely open your mouth on stage and was like, hi, I'm Meredith, and here's my songs, I hope you like it, and then going to like, yeah, I'm doing this show now, and then you pull it off, and then that's huge.
That is what it felt like. That is legitimately what it felt like. And now that you say that, I don't think I fully appreciated that evolution. Like, it does look different for everyone. And coming from the whole, my own insecurities about what I was. Could I be a songwriter? But I've never written a song, but da-da-da. And I remember my mom was like, but you write melodies. You're a songwriter. Like, that is what you are doing, So
Thank you, Mom. That was clutch.
thank you, Mom. She, and she came in clutch quite a few times. There was like, there were times when I would work with people that were extremely technically trained, I mean, they were like classical musicians. And so they're like, can you hit that, what, A sharp or whatever, whatever. Throwing major lingo at me, and I'm like, nah, man, nah. What
is that?
I sing by note, not by rote. Rote, not by note. Which one is that? Rote.
Note, not by
rote is when you hear it, right?
Rote is by repetition, so that's what you meant.
I sing by rote, not by note. Yeah. That is what I mean.
Because note would be implies sight reading of some sort.
I haven't heard that expression before. That's
Yeah.
You ain't
interesting.
heard it?
Good one.
First time
Nice.
today.
Welcome to the expression.
Yeah, welcome to the Expression Club.
With a club.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I
that's-
think it's
yeah.
like really hard. It's easy to shrink yourself when you see other people who are just like look like beasts, you know? Like,
Yeah.
can I even call myself a musician when I'm surrounded by people who actually live and breathe and speak this language far better? And
Right.
that was also part of the growth, right? Being able to find worth in my contribution, even though they weren't, you know, as technical as others maybe.
Right.
Right. But certainly you were the one really questioning yourself in that, and nobody really questioned your ability in the group, I'm sure, right?
Not
It was.
this.
I mean, these tend
This
to be
even wasn't in
from
our
an inside
group.
thing.
Amazingly, this was with someone else that
No
I ended up
doubt.
working with later. But yeah, you know,
Oh, okay.
when you feel like you're causing frustration because you can't speak the same language almost, right? And like,
Sure.
Right.
and then you have like, oh my God, I feel kind of bad. But there's also actually in being like a feeling musician, like going off of feeling and emotion instead of like the structure of technicality, I think it allows way more improvisation. Sometimes, maybe not, but I found that
There's something to that.
right, maybe so. I felt more flexibility and fluidity in what I did create because I didn't understand the rules of the game, so to speak.
Right.
Oh.
I think there's definitely a lot of merit to that, and this is something that actually Max and I were having a conversation on, and like just sort of a
That's prohibited.
yeah. I was gonna say, I was
Things come out on the podcast.
I was speaking with the man behind the curtain about this.
That's fine.
I think there's
stuff
a role for all of that, and I think it's not so much that the knowledge of those things prohibits what you can do, because certainly it gives you more tools to be able to express yourself and more of an articulate, like, I'm hearing this idea in my head. It's either a chord progression or a melody or just whatever it could be, right? Instead of just trying to describe it in whatever tools and vocabulary you have, if you can say specifically, oh, I'm hearing this, whatever that is, like, you know, this chord with all of these extensions on it, you know, you know, yeah. Well,
Now you got my ears up like,
So
ooh, what are we
amazing.
talking about right now?
right.
What are we
Or
talking about right now?
right, and then you can know how those chords resolve into each other. So let's say you want to have a certain feel, then you would know, okay, like if I go this direction with this chord change, then I can like elicit that feeling from people. I think where the gap comes in is that people, when they're in band settings and somebody might be more versed in theory and how to express themselves than somebody else is, like in your case, there is that stereotype of singers being kind of that way. And then when you are trying to find musicians to work with, it could be standoffish or judgmental, right?
Right.
So I think it's a matter of meeting in the middle there to where somebody
Yes.
else is trying to understand where you're coming from and then understanding their process to where if they come up with an idea based in their knowledge and experience, you're not going to immediately dismiss it because it's like, well, you're just not in my vibe at all. And then they're going to be like, well, you don't even know what this is.
Yes.
And it's like you have to find people that will meet you halfway.
Yeah. I mean, I think to have the
That's
two
good, though.
worlds converge is like so magical. You know, like to be able to just have the best of both worlds, right? Like the tools, the structure, the understanding, and then also the I don't know, the improvisation, I guess is what I would call it, to be able to kind of
Right.
merge the two. Which that particular instance was a session with a producer, and I'm actually super grateful that it happened because I had to go through this whole like inner battle, like am I worthy of calling myself this or showing up like this, right?
That's
Like,
right.
and that's really important,
Story of my life.
dude. All of
You
them.
guys gotta write a fucking song about that.
Seriously.
It's
Maybe
so,
he'll get past it.
dude, but it's necessary. I mean,
But it's real shit.
really
100%
freaking
real
necessary.
shit.
I understand.
It is.
Oh yeah,
You
I'm,
know,
I'm still working on it. You
Same.
know, it's not. It's
Same.
it's in some ways where I'm definitely confident and like, oh yeah, I'm doing this. I'm asserting myself. This is me. Other ways, it's like, you know, I haven't even touched on that yet, or I'm just now starting to work through all that stuff.
Oh,
and it's hard. It's super hard because you will always find somebody else that's at a different place than you are, and then just you could think you're here as a musician or an artist or whatever, and then
It's
look
like a
at
sandwich already.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a good sandwich already. I know you love my hand gestures.
I love your hands.
But yeah, it's like there were people in college when I was first getting into music, as far as like, this is what I want to do for a career, and then comparing myself to those people and going like, well, I'll never be like this person. And there was one bass player who's a friend of the podcast, Aaron Munoz, who he's a shout out to Aaron because he listens to these. He's the kind of guy who can get a gig playing on a cruise ship, get a chart put in front of him, read it,
This kid is fucking bad.
Well, yeah,
Incredible.
as a bass player, just has perfect tone. In my opinion, I think it's perfect.
I'm on board.
Yeah, he can adapt to any situation musically, as far as I've heard him play in all sorts of different styles.
All genres, styles, man.
He always shows up, dressed well, just, nicest, politest person.
Oh my
Just
gosh.
has
He's
an incredible.
fucking chic is what I say.
He's got an incredible
He's debonair.
incredible selection of button-up striped shirts.
Oh.
that
So
just-
many buttons up. This cat can rock it like no other.
Yeah, and it's like
He's like the manager of Roman's bookstore. He dresses so tight.
His signature. He's found it.
Yeah.
yeah,
No, he's always got a sweater game.
yeah,
on
sweater
fleek.
game all day.
Yes.
And when that's how I feel whenever I'm around Aaron. Yes, Aaron.
Yes, Aaron.
And I remember going into those music classes where it's like he was a part of all of that and like in ensemble performances. And I was trying out for the bass position, and you could have more than one bass player, but it was like, oh man, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to be better than Aaron. And then a friend of mine went, yeah, but you're never going to be. Just meaning like you are yourself and you don't have the same set of experiences and goals and just name it. It's like you're a different person.
Yep.
So in that
%.
there's some gigs that it's like I would be like, oh yeah, that would be my thing, and then other gigs where it's like that's Aaron's thing. I would never want to do the cruise ship thing, just in the sense of like,
Never want to do a cruise ship.
yeah, like just like would I just want to be in a band and here's the music, play it exactly like that? No, it's like I'm more where
Sure.
you're coming from, where it's like I want to express myself and
He wants to wave his head around
Express
and slap
yourself.
that face.
yeah.
Meredith, would you ever work a cruise ship? I know that you're a little bit past that situation.
I
these
mean,
days,
I
but-
definitely thought about it because I love me some ocean and free room
that's
and
what I
board. So,
Yeah.
so I definitely thought about it for sure. I don't know that I would anymore, but
Right.
I definitely considered it. Yes.
Yeah. I'm not knocking.
I'm
it.
on board.
Yeah. On board. I see what
I'm
you
on
did
board.
there.
But don't-
Yeah.
I have a little hat with the scrambled eggs and everything. I'm like
Yeah.
ready to go.
But
Yeah.
it is. That's
No,
mainly covers. That's like you're not playing
It is,
original
it's all
music.
covers.
Yeah.
Right. And,
Right.
and I did the cover band thing for a while, and I still do it, not as often. But
Guilty.
I'm not
Thanks.
against it at all. It's just using the example of we all have specific skill sets that we're good at, and we all have different sensibilities, and it's about trying to be the best version of yourself that you can. And for me, I realized that, I'm never going to be that perfect session person. People have called me to like, hey, I'm recording this song, can you play bass on it? And I'll do it, but because they know that's something that's in my wheelhouse. I don't know if you could put any style of music in front of me or, hey, play this and necessarily do it.
Right.
I don't know. And I think it's just about coming to that moment of figuring out who you are and then figuring out what are some things that are definitely not my strengths, what's my wheelhouse, and then what are things that I want to add into what I'm doing. And then going from there and not getting intimidated by other people having their
Exactly.
thing, whatever that is.
Exactly. Because also you just hit the notes different because you are different. So your whole delivery is special and unique. Like that's really leaning into
especially
that.
especially as a singer. I mean, it's people talk about finding your voice. Well, your voice is your voice. You're not trying to get yourself to come through an instrument. You already are the instrument, which is a whole nother, I imagine, different.
It's trippy.
It's another beast to contend
Trippy,
with because if someone doesn't like the sound of my playing, I can improve my gear. I can change strings and go, well, maybe I should have a P bass with some flat wounds on it, and that'll give me more of this sound.
Do that on the jazz.
Yeah. And so it's like I
That
just
tone.
Yeah, I just got a compressor.
Jocko.
Yeah, I just got a little compressor pedal and I've been messing around with that. So it's like, okay, I was so against compressors for the longest time.
They're so a must. You're such a funketeer and you don't deal with compression.
I know.
Bass nerd moment, but seriously.
Well, I know. But so it's like
you gotta get that studio comp, baby.
I know. But I'm just getting into that world, and now I'm like, okay, I can use this as a tool to change my sort of sound. And so there's my playing, but then there's all these other aspects that I could change. But if someone doesn't like your voice, then I imagine that hits. I was gonna say that. I imagine that, or it just gets you like, nah, it just didn't sound right. Then that's a whole other psychological thing you have to deal with on your end.
Well, and she's just mine. She's kind of bitchy. Like she's pretty temperamental, like you got to be real mindful because she will just leave your ass. She'll just leave and she'll be like, good luck. You have no voice now.
Yeah.
Like deal with that, So it's like the whole other, it's a whole thing. I think.
Oh yeah.
Especially being in LA. Actually, what's really funny is I auditioned for American Idol when I was 16, when I was
Rad.
when I was in high school.
Right?
Yeah, it was like maybe the second or third year of American Idol.
Cool.
It was like before you had to be 16. So it must have been the second year because I was too young the first year. And everyone came into the Edward Jones Dome in St. Louis, and there's like thousands upon thousands of freaking people there, right? You remember like the lines outside the gate and all the things?
Oh yeah.
My mom took me and we like, while you're waiting to go in, you're all sitting in the stadium.
Right.
And it almost feels like heaven because you're all sitting, and then at random spurts, somebody will just stand up and just start fucking blaring, just belting out of nowhere, right? To like anyone that's in their section, just gonna serenade because like that's what and then next person over here will get up and just start blowing, and then over here, right? It's just like angels are just serenading, and they're all freaking powerhouse vocalists, right? Like, and I'm just sitting there like, this little white girl is in the wrong place today. Like, oh God, no. Right? Like, Mom.
Like, never mind.
Can we just go? Oh my God. Like, and that whole thing, and people, when you sing, they always want you to belt. I guess maybe the nature of my voice, because it's a soulful voice.
Yeah.
So they want me to put some power behind it. And I'm just not like, that's just not, I'm built different. I don't know. Like I can't do that. And that's not the sound.
Such a great point.
That I gravitate towards. So, and literally like anytime I perform, pretty much somebody will come up and be like, oh, you should do this or this song. Like really give it some power. I know you can get there. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
You don't know her. She's some type of way. Like she can't be doing that.
Right.
Side note, for the American Idol audition, I ended up going in and auditioning. This is when I kind of like stopped watching the show. Mm-hmm. And
that was a long time ago.
Because you see like the behind the scenes, and so you go into like little pods of people, because there was maybe 10 long desks with 4 people sitting at each desk underneath the dome, right? And so you'd have like groups of 10 to go to each desk, and then you'd like one by one step up and sing and like audition. And I saw 5 people get through, and one of them was wearing like a Spider-Man suit, and one of them was singing really bad opera, and one of they were all like stories. Mm-hmm. And there was this one girl who when she was auditioning. Oh, someone's just burning out.
Did it sound like that?
That was that was really intense. So sorry.
No, it's all good.
No, it sounded like one of the best voices I've ever heard in my life. It was incredible. And all of the 10 stations that were performing, everyone stopped and just listened to her. That's how good she was.
Oh, man.
And she was this like short little blonde girl just shutting it down. And she didn't even make it past the first round. Like, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean? That's crazy. So that's when you start to see, they're looking for a narrative and a story. Like they're
It's
not,
a TV show. It ain't got shit to do with music.
Right.
doesn't got shit to do with music. And all these
American
people can
Idol.
blow, but they're probably not going to make it either. So I might as well just like keep on keeping on. But that was like
Right.
the
That's
first,
true.
like I'm just comparing myself to all of these people who are far better and more mature.
Right.
You know, I mean, I was little and they were like mature vocalists who had like a lot of control over their voices.
Right.
But what a trip. What a trip.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah, someone, a touring musician buddy of mine who's been in the music business for a long time. Actually, no, tech buddy of mine. Sorry, misspoke. He was saying that
Normally, you just drop the name.
right. Well,
Super
I was gonna
secret.
say I don't
super
want
secret.
to put him on blast, but
All right.
it was he just said like the reason why he liked that show or just appreciated it for what it was, or at least appreciated the idea of it, I think, because we were talking about this a long time ago. It was now America can see how pop stars are kind of created and manufactured and the process of it, to where you have this sort of group of producers, you know, in the sense of Randy Jackson is an actual musician and producer and all of that. Simon Cowell is just an entertainment industry executive person, right? And then Paula Abdul is a singer and performer and sort of, you know, on the other side of like, I think where Randy Jackson would be coming from. She's always been the star. He's always been sort of the behind the scenes guy, either session musician or producer, right?
Right.
So you have this panel of people and they're looking at not just your commercial ability, you know, but they're looking at, do you have an interesting story? Is there a hook? You know, can you sing? You know, they're looking at all of these different factors because they're looking at a product that they can create and shape and put out into the world. And yeah, there's no live audience or things like that, but just that core of like, yeah, they're taking somebody, plucking them, pairing them with songwriters, and then these are the pop people that you see. And then they become like a flash in the pan kind of a thing. There's
Right.
been a few people out of that have made substantial careers, but not a tremendous amount of people.
Name 4 of them.
I was going to
I
say,
know, I
Kelly,
was
20
just
seconds.
trying to.
there's the two I can think of. I think Carrie Underwood was
Yes.
American Idol, but,
Yes.
but her and Kelly Clarkson are
Yes.
the two main people. And then Jennifer Hudson, I
Yes.
think was
J
another one.
Hood.
They
Yeah,
had,
there's been the few people like that, but then you get all the other people that just kind of came.
You're not going to
and
count Daughtry? That would have been your
went.
fourth big dog.
I would count
No,
Daughtry
I
too
wouldn't-
because he's been around.
okay, Daughtry, but who
He
was the
didn't
other
win
guy?
though, right? Or did he win?
No, I don't remember if he won.
He was on it for sure.
Who's
He
the
was
guy
one of
who's
the-
the front man for Queen right now? What's his name?
Oh,
Oh,
Lamberto.
Adam Lambert.
Yeah.
Adam Lambert.
Yes.
Lambertini.
Yeah.
Lambertini.
Is that an official term or is
There's a
that
little term of endearment I whipped up for the
okay?
guys.
I hope we can get the ball
He's
rolling
good,
on
you
that.
know.
He's
it's,
amazing.
I'd go watch them do
Yeah.
Queen songs.
Yeah.
as covers, 'cause
Definitely.
That's what they're doing. But
Yeah, but I think
fuck
too,
with that.
yeah, no, and I think too he kind of came along later to where, and just my observation of it, that you've seen how people can become a flash in the pan, so people have to try to make an effort to not be that. But
Right.
if you look at it, you know, you start comparing yourself to, oh wow, like I can get shut down instantly, and
Right.
it's like you don't even understand the whole picture of like. You're still trying to find your own voice, and that still doesn't replace tenacity. And there's plenty of people that get rejected by. I love the stories of they got rejected by every label, and then somebody finally took a chance on, like back in the day when you had to get signed. Like Tom Petty was one of those. Literally got rejected by every single record label except for the one that signed him, and then they blew up
Wow.
after that. You
Charles
know,
Malotes.
yeah. So
Incredible.
yeah.
Also, the thing about it, and I mean, I watch The Voice here and there. You know, I have like some friends that were on there, and it's just the thing about shows like that too is I hate the idea that putting musicians in competition. I don't know. It just makes me really sad because then it's kind of limiting
I love it though.
their contribution.
I wish that the losers had to fight to the death.
Yeah.
And we just get to
Yeah.
go home.
With the
Medieval
microphone.
times on this shit. Yeah. No, I totally feel you. No, it's so contrived. And again, as you knew from your experience, it's like, and I mean, it's like my sister used to work in production, and I've done production work, so I've seen a little behind the scenes. Long story short, there's a lot of BS behind what you're being presented.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not a pure competition anyway, which at least I could kind of appreciate.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's still totally subjective saying, oh, her voice was like what? She had what? Like, now you'd have to get like theoretical in order to kind of define it, wouldn't you? Like, oh, her
Right.
glissando is much stronger in pitch and duration.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but
Yeah.
who sang the song better, you know?
Right.
Well, and that I don't know too. That's also again gets into looking at, are we talking about art here or commerciality?
Right.
Because I think that a lot of these people who are in the record business, where it's like we're putting out songs and like we're trying to get this product out there, you can hear like where sensibilities are going. You can hear where they're at. You can hear like what could be a throwback kind of a style that we can bring back in this song or this album or whatever. And that is a whole different thing than actually listening to something on its own artistic merit and going like, well, how do we make this the best that we possibly can? Because those are two different endeavors, really, in my mind. So
Right.
and again, this goes back to what we were talking about with, you know, you move out here to this big city, you know, environment, and you're trying to find yourself, and that just takes time,
I mean,
you know,
she
as
came
you,
from a big city.
yeah. Well,
I
St.
mean,
Louis
no, I didn't.
No?
Well, I'm technically from St. Charles, which is like a suburb.
Oh,
Okay.
Never mind. I've been through that. Never
Yeah,
mind.
yeah.
It's the outskirts. It's nice.
I was gonna
That's
say,
nice.
so
That's nice.
That's nice.
yeah, so
You've
it's
been
sort
to
of the
St.
same-
Charles?
I passed through it. Yeah.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah. You know what's funny is because my dad's always big on trying to stop through there when we travel across the country, because that's where his parents were born and raised, and then they moved to Seattle
Wow.
when they started a family. So we're all from St. Joseph. I don't know
Wow,
if you've
that's
been there.
country.
It's even smaller town.
Yeah, it
exactly.
sure is.
Yeah. Ding, 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 ding.
Sure is.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. So have you done like the whole St. Louis thing? Have you done the Arch and
Nope, I haven't been that lucky. I've only actually really messed around in KC, actually. Like this last year, we stopped in Kansas City for a day, and that was pretty chill. But yeah,
Okay.
no St. Louis. I like that Arch, but claustrophobia
Oh yeah, not for you
keeps
then.
me at bay.
Yeah,
Let's
not
drop
for
some
you.
Xannies and hit that Arch, though. Y'all have a drink. I'll do my thing. We'll get on that Arch.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And on
Fair
a
enough.
windy day when you're at the top, it sways.
Ooh,
So that's
okay,
fun.
okay.
yeah. All right.
True story.
I like heights.
Yeah, I was
Just
gonna say I don't mind heights, especially in a building, but that might trip me out a little
Might
bit.
get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might
get
be
you
a little too
bit.
much.
It's a
Yeah.
thing though.
We're going to go, though.
Bucket list it.
Road trip.
Yeah, Sonic City road trip.
Sonic City road trip.
Yeah.
All right, where were we?
Well, something I wanted to get into as well is that from the album that you put out as Lamarche, that was,
Trio.
you know, the band Endeavor, where it was you, Shawn Gilmer, and Dallin Jimenez on
Yes.
guitar,
Yes.
another coworker.
My little buddy.
Yeah, I was
He's
gonna
not
say,
so little, but
yeah.
what a super beast.
and
Shred
also just
master.
yes,
Such a shred.
I know.
also just to pause for context.
Pause for context.
Yeah, pause for context. Dallin, I've also known the same amount of time as Shawn because he also works at the local Performing Arts Center.
Right.
And the more I've gotten to know Dallin over the years, the more that just this being the small sort of town that it is, it's like he knows almost everybody that I know. And I'm like, man, Dallin is getting around. It's crazy.
You got quite a little pool of talent out there, I gotta say. Like I'm really
Yeah.
Yo, we got like 4 or 5 Wolfpecks out here by my count. Maybe more.
I mean,
Yeah, we got some super groups. We got what do you think, Max? We could maybe make 2 snarky puppies with the cats that we know out
ooh,
here.
yes.
I was like, I think we're almost there.
Yeah. It's you know, I guess it's
You got to
doing-
play bass though.
Please make
Okay.
that happen.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
I'll get my Joe Dart Woody
There you go.
Woodpecker
Get the
movements
neck.
down.
Joe Dart neck. Joe
Yeah.
Dart neck.
Yeah. No, we have. I think it's just having to do like more with less because you know we're such in our own world out here, and that nobody. I don't know. It's kind of disconnected from things, so you have to kind of make your own fun.
It's yes. It reminds me of like the people who live in like Northern Europe and stuff. All those cats that I know, like the metal bands that come through sometimes.
Right.
They all are crazy. Like they don't just shred, but they play classical guitar really good. And it's all like, well, we're indoors our whole lives.
Yeah.
And music helps you not go insane.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, that hell makes sense. And the desert has a little bit of that vibe.
Definitely.
Kind of.
Yeah.
You know, because it's a scorcher out here.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, which I like, but.
Well, and it's also, you can get caught up in doing some really bad shit and get into trouble.
Oh, we're going to drop that on it
Well,
too?
I'm just saying, let's be real.
Let's be
It's
real.
like, well, I can either go to a party
Yep.
and get shit-faced, or I can have band practice and hang out with my buddies, and like
Yep.
that's always what I chose to do.
And either way, you're
I mean,
shit-faced.
and who's kidding who? I wasn't invited to parties at that age anyway. But
What
Good
age?
for you.
Teenage?
I was gonna say high school. It was. I was yeah.
Were you really not getting invited to
ima-
parties in high school?
Imagine all of the insecurity stuff we talked about with none of this like low booming confidence in my voice that you're hearing right now.
Oh,
That's
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
Good for you. Right
Yeah.
for the picket.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was yeah, that would have been bad if I had gotten caught up in all of that. But
Caught up.
I think there's a lot of people where that they put their time and effort and passion into it in places like this all over the country, because it's like we don't have a lot of stuff to do and
Right.
you have to make your own fun.
Yeah.
And out of that you get a lot of creativity and, you know, ability and musicianship and artistry,
Yeah.
you know, and so that's the positive of it. That's the bright
I mean,
side.
I'm
so.
pumped that I have a line in some way. Both my bandmates are from there, which, by the way, the story of Dallin. So Javi
Oh,
Contreras
man.
was like the original like founding member of the Lamarche band, just because like we had to like make shit happen really fast. He ended up
Right,
leaving
right.
LA maybe like a year later. And so Shawn and I, we still had all these shows booked because then we continually booked. And
That's cool.
it was cool, but we went through, I think maybe 4 other guitarists almost. And before he brought Dallin in, and he kept saying like, I have
Yeah.
this guy I work with, da da da. And but for whatever reason, we never like, it never hit. And then, you know, one day we finally got him to come out and to sit in. And it was like, I call them my musical soulmates because they're just like Dallin's a shred master, right? He'd never
Yeah.
played
Yeah.
acoustic groovy music before, acoustic soul music, like never before. And he just like laid into it so well and so easily. And his artistry, the chords he plays too, they're so beautiful. They're so freaking gorgeous. And so that's where his tools, that like helped, you know, like really blossom the songs that we had previously written. He just put a little extra flair on them. And then the songs that we wrote moving forward, the 3 of us, it was just like trifecta. I'm so blessed. And again, they come from where y'all are at. So there's something in the water.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I watched his playing develop since he was a kiddo because he took lessons at the place I taught at.
Oh,
Way.
So I'd known him since he was a pretty young dude, like at least 13 or 14. Just like I know Maxwell that long. And
I love
I just like
that.
all of the kids I worked with out here are special to me, but it's like some of them, you just see them start to play, and after a month or 2 of getting to know them, you're just like, oh man, you keep this up, you're gonna fucking kill everybody.
Yeah.
You could just tell
Yeah.
he had like BMF written all over him. Right from the start,
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
For sure.
So that's so cool that
Yeah.
you connected with him and made that music though.
Oh
'cause
my
I really
gosh.
dig the trio. That album's pretty tight. I enjoy the music a lot.
Thank you. That album's so
You're
old
welcome.
too. We're trying to. We had written so
Volume
many
2.
new songs since like the Head Into the Desert album, which again, that we were going on tour and we didn't have like a hard album, so we had to record something like
You
so
guys!
fast. I know.
So
God.
first gig you had no songs,
Yeah.
and then first tour you had no music
Nothing.
out.
No merch, no album, no nothing. And we were going to Colorado
man.
and St. Louis and Chicago. Like it was really hilarious. And so we called Diamond Jeff.
Yes.
Oh,
Sure did.
Another friend.
my arch nemesis friend.
No, he's your nemesis.
No, he's the only person. So I talk a lot of shit. I always pick on this guy.
Yeah.
Jeff's the only person. He picks on me so hard, and he wins every time.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where the rivalry is. Again,
a good-
I've known him since he was a mere lad.
Oh yeah.
No,
when-
I love Jeff. But
Yeah.
what'd you have to do with that evil man?
Wow, nice healthy battle there though. I love that. Everyone needs a good arch
Oh, yeah.
nemesis, by the way.
No, as soon as I
Everyone
see
needs
him, though,
one.
I'd be like, hug me, you beast.
Yeah.
Beast.
Right.
Hug me and bring me a burrito. I remember when he did his burrito.
Burritos!
His burrito tour
Burritos!
was like epic.
Well, I was gonna say let's pause for a second.
Yes.
The patron saint of burritos.
So Jeff, there's not too many places to record in the desert here. So Jeff had I was gonna say Max
Here.
Being
to
at
know.
this place is one of the most recent additions in the desert. But there's been sometimes there have been places, sometimes there's not. Sometimes there's people converting their homes into studios
Right.
and just you try to without having to drive to LA, you try to just find whoever you can.
Right.
Jeff being the hooked into all of us musicians and being the one guy that knew the most about recording was always the go-to for his own bands and like my bands and everything else. So I was hanging at his place one day, just either working on music or doing something. He's playing me some sessions. We concoct this idea for Cinco de Mayo and how appropriate, since that was just a few days ago
So
from when this is
appropriate.
going to air. We decided to go eat 5 burritos in one day from various different locations and just sort of take Cinco de Mayo off. I was in school at the time, so it was easy for me to just I'll just go eat burritos all day for this one day.
What a day.
And yeah, we went a couple places here in the desert, and then we went to Canyon Country, and then we drove up to Santa Barbara for our favorite place up there, Freebirds, which is different.
Freebirds.
Different from the chain of Freebirds, because it's a college town up there, and this was Jeff's theory on this, is that because you have all the fraternities going in there and ordering all the time, they make things a lot fresher and there's a high turnover on the food, so it's not just sitting in the trays underneath the warmers all day.
You can count on that.
Seems legit.
So, and also
Good
too,
theory.
just being up in I was right. Seems legit. That's a lot of the information that he presents. It's seems legit.
Burrito game
Food
strong.
and calculus or something.
Yeah, and so that was just a fun day where we went up there, and we were joined by friends at every step of the way. We told everybody about what we were
step
doing,
of the way.
and people literally one guy who was a buddy of ours showed up at one of the places that had a sign, he was waiting for us to get there at a certain time,
Like Tour de France.
Yeah, and it was said something burrito on it, and that was we only did it one time. It was very sad. I'd love to do it again, but
We should do it again. This is in your honor, Jeff, that we're speaking about this. I will never forget. I
Yes.
thought that was straight up legendary status. I didn't know you did it with him. I love that. That's so
Yeah.
awesome. Mine
Yeah,
would be
no, that-
breakfast burrito tour, though, to be fair.
Oh, okay.
Which would be
okay.
hard to have 5 of those in the same day, though. No, but
That's all
tricky.
I'm saying.
It's a lot of hash
So
browns.
much huevos.
It's a lot of hash browns.
Que más huevos.
Yeah, no, that was a fun day. But yeah, that was just kind of some of the shenanigans Jeff and I would get up to. But
Well, and luckily,
So-
it seemed like he would often have new gear new equipment that he needed to test. So that's kind of how we also lucked out getting to record
oh yeah,
a live EP with him, is because he needed to work on his new stuff, his new equipment.
oh yeah,
Test it out.
He's a gearhead for sure.
Major
Just
gearhead.
always buying and selling everything.
He's
But-
a master of acquisition. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
He just is, though.
Well, so you recorded that album, put it out in 2013, and then you have this new song now. I was gonna say, and
when is now?
Well, I was gonna say, this is a
You're
bad.
struggling for the.
This is a
Last
bad
Friday.
interviewer. Yeah, I was gonna say last Friday.
Yes.
Please share the name with people because I'm having a bad podcast.
Oh no,
at the
you're good.
moment.
It's called Back to You is the name of this.
Back to
Yes.
you.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
like my first proper solo single release.
Yeah. Well, and also you just put this
Wonderful.
out last Friday,
Yeah.
right? And you have 15,000 plays on it.
We do. We lucked
Dude.
out.
Dude.
Pretty
That's
cool.
intense.
Pretty cool. Really
Yeah.
super pumped about that. We had a hell of a hype squad behind us to start with. So they were adding it to playlists, and they were, they were sharing it with everybody, and they were keeping it on rotation, in between their songs, and then we lucked out and got put on a couple playlists, and that's made all the difference. Not Spotify playlists; they were independent curators,
Yeah.
but really incredible. And the song's produced by, funny enough, Shawn Gilmer's stepson, Jared. Jared Heath goes by the Jeshway, and
Yeah.
he's an awesome producer. He is super gifted. I mean, the whole family. I'm telling you, something is going on. Something's
Yeah.
going on with this family.
Yeah.
So he and I have been working together. We've released a couple things. One of them, one song was I was featured on one of his tracks, and we had released something else that we're going to probably re-release later with a video. But it was making the shift from live acoustic performances to like produced sound, right? It was like
Yes.
a totally different package. And I was really, I was so in love with Lamarche, and we were always performing, right? Like we always got booked and we were playing out all the time. So we didn't even properly record our next album, which is the new songs that we wrote. So we're trying to do that just so we can like immortalize them.
Yeah.
But it's interesting too, because we just recorded one of our original songs yesterday, and it is a mixture of like the live playing performance and a produced sound, and we did it for this student film. There's somebody that Shawn knows. Her
Nice.
name's Jasmine, yeah, and she was doing her thesis film, and so she asked us if she could do a music video for this particular song yesterday that she heard off the album, which was awesome. Came out of nowhere. This was last year, and we were so like honored that she'd asked us. So we recorded it, but we tried to make it a different sound. So we made it a produced sound, and it was produced by Armand Robacek, who's also incredibly gifted and talented. And we haven't
Awesome.
released it yet, but so we're kind of in this phase of trying to find like the new evolution of the Lamarche sound, while I'm also finding my own independent sound.
Right.
That's really cool, though.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
It's a journey.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I want to
Don't
get it.
stop believing.
Hold on to that feeling.
Because the wheel in
Yeah.
the sky keeps on turning.
Yeah.
And I'm done.
Well, you know, when the lights go down in the city,
Sun shines on the bay.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great.
I'm glad
It might
somebody.
go on for another 20 minutes if we don't.
I was gonna say, I'm glad somebody
Great.
appreciates our nonsense.
Yeah,
love
that's really
that.
nice. That's rare.
Next.
That's rare that people don't go, why are you doing that?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's.
Thank you for that.
Continue.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, I think there's a lot to get into with this, because I wanted to ask questions about, you know, kind of what you've been going through from then to now, and like making that transition, why that transitioning is taking place,
Yeah.
but then also, you know, the specific of like, how did the writing process of this song work? And I wanted to kind of go through all that. So
yes.
wherever you want to start in all of that.
Well, Lamarche has been together, and we still are, for, oh my God, going on what, 7 years, 6-7 years? That's crazy to think. And our writing style is really super easy. Usually I come in with lyrics, and Dallin will start making love to, you know,
Yeah.
to the strings in some way. And then, of course, Shawn will just like rip something. And then my melody is the last thing normally, because I'll find it based on like the tapestry that they've set. I always usually have to have lyrics in front of me though, in order to find like the rhythm. So it like blows my mind, people who can write songs melody first without words. That's like, that seems so backwards to me. So it fascinates me, people who can do that, because it's so difficult for me to place a melody without having like something concrete to assign it to.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So we would go from that, and we did a ton of gigs, and we went from playing like Sunset Boulevard shows, or we were doing mainly originals, to getting booked mostly for corporate gigs, which paid really well, and were super fun, but again, they're mainly covers. And so we could throw in our originals every now and again, right? Like we had a lot of originals, but we would often be playing 3-hour sets, which is
Right.
a shit ton of music.
Yeah.
And a ton of cover songs. And so I think the transition happened really, I think we started kind of getting burnt out on playing the same type of gig. Like you were saying, Jesse, how, you know, you don't think you can do the cruise line thing. I can relate to that now, because we did that. We did like the rotation of like 100 songs per gig, and
Right.
super fun. There's nothing better than playing a good song, for sure. But
Yeah, it is fun.
it is
Yeah.
fun, but it definitely, I think it played its course, and I missed playing original songs, and I was ready for a different sound.
Right.
And I think just kind of as time does, like people, Dallin picked up another job, Shawn was doing this. So there was like some time and space between gigs. And especially this past year with COVID, there were no gigs. So we
Right.
came together to record and to film this music video. But other than that, it was me working on music with producers, which is also a bit more convenient because they're local. I don't have to travel right to Lancaster
Yeah.
or Palmdale, or vice versa. Which it doesn't seem like that far, but it kind of is. It's like a whole world.
Yeah.
Well, there seems to be some sort of weird like theory about like there's like a divergence in physics. Like people insist that it's a longer drive from the valley to Palmdale than from Palmdale to there.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many times I'm gonna have this argument with my brother,
Yeah.
who I love very much.
Time
But
work.
Joey, it's the same distance, dog.
Yeah.
Same distance.
Maybe
Yeah.
traffic flow, maybe something.
Well, I know all the back roads, even
It's
where
the Airstream.
like the pavement ends, and I know how to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I drive on fire roads for real in my commute. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like,
I was gonna say
Oh, wow.
I hate
sometimes
getting stuck in traffic.
sometimes it's essential. Yeah.
Nah, I can't deal with it.
Well, and I've just found that whenever I've been in LA and people start talking to me about, where do you live? What are you doing? And I say I live in Antelope Valley. First response
Just
is,
to confuse the shit out of them.
yeah.
Yeah.
First response is,
"What is that?"
yeah. Where is that?
Where?
What is that?
Yeah. Like
And
California?
then it's like how tall are you? 6'4", and then it's basketball. Wow, I know the responses, right?
Yeah.
I've been tall for a while. I
You've
know
been
where
tall.
this is gonna go.
For a while.
Tall.
Yeah, and
6'4" though, damn. Jesus.
Yeah, it's all right. You hit your head on more stuff.
Yeah.
You can reach things pretty easy.
He took the paint off all the door jams in
Yeah,
Way
here.
to
I was
go.
gonna say, I got
We
it.
still love them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm helping tons of old ladies at the grocery store, making sure they can get all of
All
their
them cans
top,
are within reach.
top shelf needs.
Acts of service.
Yeah. So you say where you live, where's that, and then you go, well, and then I always give the reference of like Valencia because Magic Mountain is there, and Santa Clarita had that show.
The hardest
Santa-
way to know.
Well, I'm just saying, Magic Mountain or
didn't even
Santa
know
Clarita now because of that Netflix show, Santa Clarita Diet. So like people kind of know where that is.
You
So
put all of this into your
Right.
spiel, right?
No, I have this down. So I name that and I go, it's about X amount of time or miles north of there. And then people, and here's the shock and awe and dismay. And you drive to insert wherever town of gig that I'm doing
Right.
is. It's like,
Yeah.
and you drove all the way here? And I'm like, yeah. And then people are just dumbfounded by that. And
Yeah.
it's like you're saying, which is weird because some people have the perception of that as so far away. Other people go, yeah, well, it might take me an hour just to get across town to go somewhere else. So
That's
with
a lot
traffic.
of it.
Yeah. And so I think that people have an idea about relativity
Yeah.
and where you live and all of that.
Yeah.
But there is something to like just eliminating that commute time and having to worry about traffic. And that can be that can save you some logistical headaches for sure.
Traffic in LA is a borderline deal breaker.
Yeah.
It's been very tough, I'm sure.
I'm not gonna lie. Being away from here and now that I'm back in town, I'm like, oh, that's what this is. Oh,
Yeah.
right.
You're like, I didn't miss this.
There's too many fucking people here.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Still.
take an hour to go 12 miles. This is not a joke. An hour for
Yeah.
12 miles. Like, what?
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah.
What
at
even
all.
is this? So when you're going
Sounds
from,
like the West Side.
I mean, Palmdale to LA during rush hour, dude, that's like easily 2.5, 3 hours sometimes.
Yeah, you definitely learn where
For
to
sure.
avoid and like
Yeah.
like where the best way to get to some place is, or sometimes it's literally just having to leave way earlier.
Way earlier,
And
yep.
there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like if I need to be in Culver City at 8 a.m., which I've had to be, I have to leave
Right.
the house at 4, and then
Sure.
I get there between 7 and 7:30.
Oh, God.
And
I did the
just-
same thing last year when I was going to Dominguez in Carson to
Yeah.
finish my degree.
Yeah.
Go Toros.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, because it's like 30 miles south of downtown, 20 miles at least.
Oh, yeah.
That's like 100 miles from us, almost.
Right.
So get up at 4 a.m. and just enjoy the darkness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say you live like a mole rat.
I just put on Bob Seger and I fucking cruise, man, until I get there.
There you go.
That's my recipe for success. Really.
Oh yeah.
Put on Bob Seger, and if you got to drive somewhere.
Yeah, no, occasionally I'll like, if traffic's really bad, I'll have like my Google Maps and then I'll pull up like whatever radio, like just for like, okay, what are they saying? Because I want to cover all my bases, right? The worst is hearing any sort of remotely morning DJ when I'm stuck in bumper. Hey, we're bad. No, just off.
Shut up.
No, off. Yeah,
Shut up.
sorry. Yeah, it's like.
This is
it
how
makes it-
every
you're making-
doomsday movie starts, is that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's another traffic backed up.
Yep.
And I'm
Yep.
just like, oh, no, please.
Yep.
Spare me.
That's when you got to look up at the sky
Well,
for
it's
the
like,
meteors.
oh God. We had a year-long residency at this spot called LA Farm, which was amazing. Did you ever go there, Jesse? Did we ever?
No,
okay.
I heard about it. Yeah. I
It was
heard about
incredible. It actually shares a lot with the Recording Academy, and LA Farm was owned by one of the owners of MasterChef, like one of the original ones.
Yeah.
Stefan Richter is his name. And so he owned it and ran it, and we played there every Wednesday night for a year. It was incredible. But we played at 6:37, so they would have to leave during that
Too.
every time. And it always took them 2.5, 3 hours every Wednesday because they were also working usually. So it was like work and then you just have to sit for 3 hours. Luckily they had each other, so that's nice and sweet. But
Yeah.
It's something.
it is a something. And when I first, our song Heading to the Desert, when I first lived in LA, I had no car. And so when I would go out and do writing sessions with Shawn, I would take the train. I would take 3 buses to Union Station, take the train out to freaking Lancaster. And that was, although a gorgeous journey, I gotta say. Y'all are not, you are not lacking in beautiful scenery for sure.
It's not bad.
It's not
No.
bad. Oh God. So I would just sit on the train and just be writing song lyrics through the mountains. And
Nice.
I mean, I'm glad I can drive now, but I do kind of miss that. There was something really sweet and I don't know, nostalgic
Can
about
I
that.
just interject?
Yes.
There's been so many times when you flipped my lid in this conversation
Oh my
with
gosh.
the things that you've been able to do, Meredith. But when you said that you sold your car to move to Los Angeles,
I did.
I almost said record scratch.
Yeah.
You're gonna die.
Yeah.
You can't live without a car.
Yeah.
That's like, I'm going to live in the ocean without any oxygen.
Without a scuba
Bye-bye.
tank.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just like,
Yep.
things we don't do here.
Yeah.
And that's so cool here you're just like, I just did what I had to do. Took 3 buses, then a train.
Straight
Yeah.
up 3.5 years.
100%.
3.5 years I did not have a car.
3.5
Yeah.
years.
Isn't
Oh,
that
man.
crazy? I was strictly a bus rider, not a driver.
Yeah.
Rider.
No, they let you drive sometimes.
They
right?
should have though.
On Fridays, right?
It's like
should have.
Disneyland.
If you just
ask-
tap them on the shoulder and be like, can I do this one? And they're
Yeah.
like, you get to do a couple miles.
Come
It's
on.
like Disneyland when you ask
I know the route
people,
by
hey,
now.
can I pilot the steamboat? They'll go,
Yeah. All right.
This time we
Yeah.
won't tell anyone.
Here, you got to
Yeah.
put on my shirt and my hat, though.
they give you, they give you a
Dude.
hat and a little certificate when you're done.
Dude, the power trip I'd go on if that happened to
I would
me,
lose my
forget it.
mind. That would be the best
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I can't be trusted.
Well, so in that time though, it's like you're writing and figuring out, like you said, you're exploring your own voice and things like that, and so transitioning into more of a produced sound, it seems like you're saying, you were getting kind of burnt out on that and you wanted to try something new, and so now with trying to, and I hear it, there's elements in this in Back to You that are like the first album and like your other songs, and I hear the through line, and so. For you, how do you think that you're trying to reconcile those two? It's like, do you think it's more of finding people the same thing when you started, to find people that want to help you achieve your vision? Do you have more direct input in it? Where do you come in this process?
It's interesting because I never I'm working with mainly 2 producers right now, and they're all Jared. I told you is Shawn's stepson, and Armand is an old dear friend of mine. And so I haven't been, some singers go out and actively search for producers. And I think I've been lucky enough to just being in the music vein, you just people kind of you gravitate towards one another. And luckily, Jared created tracks and would send them to me. Like, what do you think of this? Are you inspired? Do you want to write to it? What's the vibe?
Really vibey.
Super vibey. And I happened to be going through like some like heart hurt. And so it was also super therapeutic to get to like write it down and process it in a way, which was also like, oh my God, I'm gonna release this and people are gonna know and it's about, and you know, like all those feelings. But then you realize that one feeling is really universal for like everything in your life. And back to you, the whole idea is like that pull to something that's not serving you or that is destructive in some way, and yet it's so attractive to you and it's so hard to like relinquish that like grasp of it. Which is, that could be like a bad relationship or a bad habit or a bad, really anything. And
anything
at all. Yeah. So I've been fortunate that I've been gifted opportunities to be able to like explore that. What would a produced sound with my melody and vocal style? What would that sound like? And is that going to hit for me? And I'm loving it. Luckily, I'm really loving it. And we made an amazing video too. Shout out to Tom Villarreal. He was the mastermind behind it, and that was a whole family affair too. His wife Jasmine's in it, and Jared's wife Imani's in it. So it's been really cool to see like the grassroots involvement of people who like believe in something and they just want to help boost it.
Yeah. Well, that seems like what you've been gravitating towards since you've moved out here, is that sort of environment.
That's true.
Having people that treat it like a family, you know.
That is true. I found my crew eventually.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, and
thank you.
Seriously, it's that's nothing to take for granted. And I feel lucky enough that I've found musicians that I really click with, on a personal level, on a musical level, even if differences in style or influence are there, that ultimately you're on the same page at the end of the day. And it's nothing to take for granted.
No, it's hard to find. Really hard to find people who are on the same page, that you have the same kind of vision, that you even get along. Like the fact that Shawn and Dallin and I have been in a band for 6 years is like, and we still just love each other and adore each other. I mean, and you can count on one another. Hey, we have rehearsal here. Boom. They're going to be there. There's never... That, I mean, that's huge.
Can we just side note talk about that for a
second? Dude, that's
Yeah.
real.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, no, it's like you meet they've got, whatever, all the chops, and like they love playing this kind of thing, but they don't have a car that works and they can't find a way to get there. Like they're not going to take the train or the bus or anything like that. So then, okay, well now you've got to constantly pick this person up. It's like, okay, that's fine. But like, let's say the person does have a car and it's reliable, but then they might not, their like gear always breaks down, all
always
the time.
something.
Always something. Or they have a car and they have the gear, but they're like, you have to tell them, hey, be here at 12, because you know that they're going to show up at 3.
Right.
3. I was going to say 1, but you went 3.
Yeah. Or they're just straight
I
up
had a certain
flaky.
person in mind. We're not going to name any.
No, not naming names. It's just, that's a common like music stereotype. Or even if it's like the timeliness thing is there, it could be just a matter of, touring, like you well know about. It's like you're driving, and you guys can tour in a car, with your setup, to where Shawn could throw his cajon in a trunk. Same thing with Dallin, throws like his pedal board and his acoustic in a trunk. All right, good. We're good to go.
Yep.
And so you guys are sharing a car ride together, going to like Colorado or some other place.
Yeah.
And that can make or break a band situation.
Definitely.
Really quickly.
Definitely.
Because it's, and if you could survive that, then you're already on the right track.
I mean, I don't think there's ever been a time when we've never, I don't even know how we've been so lucky, but I've dealt with people who are just straight up flaky. Like you can't get a hold of them. You have a gig and you're like, are they even coming? I don't know. Now I'm stressed out. It's just like,
oh God.
And of course they inevitably show up, but it's like, why am I,
Right.
Why am I stressed here? This should be like a really exciting, elevating experience. Why am I having this? But it's super, super common. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I was going to say, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah.
it's like, I'll put it out there. It's like in my younger days, because I've been doing this for too long, but definitely in my early 20s when I started gigging more, I was
You were that person?
not as mindful or considerate as I'm definitely trying to be these days.
Yeah.
And I was very much like, oh, I'm double booked. Okay, well, you guys have fine without me. Peace.
Oh,
Like,
shit.
Yeah.
I did do that.
Yeah.
I did do that.
Yep.
I did do that maybe more than one time. Not more than this many.
Yeah.
Not more than that many.
Well, and again, that's
Savage.
Yeah. But
No,
that's going again
not
back.
proud.
Well, no, but it's a testament again to growth. You know,
Yeah.
to where it's, you know, I know you now. I've only known.
I know you.
Yeah, I know you.
I know you.
And in the time that I've really gotten to know you, you're definitely in my head of like, okay, who goes into that folder of like reliable people that I can count on? It's like you're in there, no question. You know, there's not like there's the question mark folder, there's the definitely not folder. You know,
Definitely
like,
not.
You have more than 2 folders.
I'm
That's
just-
Hey, you
just saying
need
in my-
multiple folders. I get you.
Yeah, I'm just saying in my head, it's like, okay, if I was gonna like, if I had a gig and I needed to call a bass player or a musician to fill in, or someone was looking for a musician, and it's like, who do I know that's reliable that could play? And so I automatically have a list in my head of like, oh yeah, reliable people. And then I have people where it's like, well, I don't know if this would be their thing or they could do it, or I don't know if they're not always 100% reliable. But like you're in that reliable category, no question. So
Thank you.
Look at you.
it goes, yeah, well, and it goes back into, again, you could look at where you start and it's like, are you always going to be that shy, scared person?
Right.
And,
Yes.
you know, even going from, well, yeah.
Or no, was your point.
Well, maybe you are, but you find ways to work around that and you overcome it. Everybody's different.
Right.
And so when you're at the point now where you're trying out a new sound and you're trying to explore that, again, those nerves can kick in, you know, where it's like, is this going to work? Is this this what I want to do? You know,
Right.
and it's a lot of questions can come with that.
I've decided this is the year of no fucks given. Like that's just
right.
it. I'm just gonna like. There's no more coulda, woulda, shoulda. It's like why not? Like,
Welcome
what else?
to the YNFG.
Yeah.
Exactly.
YNFG, baby.
Why
Yeah.
not? Like
Yeah.
time's gonna pass anyway, and it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. It's just contribution at the end of the day,
Yeah.
right? If it comes from a
That's
good,
wonderful.
sweet, wonderful, like well-intentioned place, and you're just trying to offer something.
Yeah. Well,
Whatever.
give me a
Give me
few
5 examples.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, just music related. I want to know like where you're coming from on that. Like, so if this is that year and you're setting the precedent,
Ooh.
you know,
great.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say, I think just real quick, I wanted to get a few from you, like, you know, related to music. What are those that have come to mind or you might have written down? Like, I'm not giving a fuck. I'm doing this.
Yeah, I'm not giving a fuck because I have several singles that I plan to release this year. And I also have I mentioned that we're Baha'is. I have a Baha'i devotional album that's been in the works for quite a while that I want to
Nice.
release that too. And there was always feelings like, can I release secular and then also Baha'i music? Is that weird? Like, is that confusing?
Ah,
Like,
fuck it.
My
Sounds
brand?
cool.
Exactly. It's like, no, fuck it. I'm singing for God, whatever. It's nice. Like, it brings me joy and it'll bring other people joy. And if it even one person enjoys it, then there you go. You know, like that's, it's just connection. It's all about connection. That's the whole purpose. So that's the year. I'm trying to get some stuff out there because it's performing live for so long has been wonderful and it's been really good practice really and in honing my chops. But now I'd really like more. I would like more available publicly, so more recorded and more released and just to like full on go. And by the way, it's like, Jesus Lord, there's a reason why there's teams of people who do this. It's so much. God, every release, there's so much if you want it to like pop off. Like I'm really blessed that we have the 15,000 streams, but that was a lot of effort. So it's also just, I think I'm just now like emotionally even capable of going for it and doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's real. Yeah. Well, I'm definitely excited, that not only is this new song coming out, but that you've got this newfound inspiration and you're going to be releasing more things and getting more music out into the world, because I've always really enjoyed going to watch you sing, as you just mentioned, but it'll be nice to now have starting to build a body of work that reflects the talent that you have. So I think that'll be, I'm looking forward to that myself. And I can't wait to kind of meet in the middle here to where we can, I don't know when it will happen or how, but working it out to where you'll be performing live in the studio here with
It's happening.
Shawn and Dallin and
Yep.
getting some sort of performance going on in here and adding it onto the podcast at some point.
Oh, that's going to be so sweet. I cannot wait. I'm so looking
We
forward
just
to
need
that.
to think about it a little every day to help
Think
it
about
manifest.
it. Just manifest
Yeah.
it.
Well,
It'd be like, wonder when we're going to get to the studio. Pretty soon, I think. And then on with the rest of your day.
yeah.
I'm like, I do that kind of stuff for real. Like, I don't know what it does, but it definitely puts my mentality in the right space. to,
Yeah.
like, keep
Oh,
at
visualize
without,
it.
without doing the second guessing and all that shit. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
A million
all
percent.
that apparently we're all prone to, and you guys really suffer from. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, right.
So,
Oh, man.
homework is
No,
to manifest that because
Yeah.
that's going to be a blast. I can't wait.
Yes,
sick.
it's going to be awesome. So I want to thank you so much for coming in here today, and for us being your first podcast ever. I so
Dude,
enjoyed it.
the honor
Yeah.
is like so real.
I'm
Yeah.
31.
Honestly.
Yeah,
31.
yeah, that's crazy.
Dude, we're going to go get that number tattooed.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
Let's go, all three of us.
We're the only ones who are going to know what it's going to mean. It's
fine.
We're the only ones who know. Why that number? It's like,
Yeah, don't
worry.
worry about it. You got to
You
be
know.
in the know.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Gotta be
Eventually,
fast.
some podcast nerd will figure it out, but until then, it'll just be our secret.
Yeah, absolutely. Before you go, we'll plug this at the beginning and the end of the episode, obviously. I was going to say, but there will be links to Meredith's music in the description.
Put them up on the top.
Every time.
Up
Yeah.
or down, who knows?
I think it's cooler to put on the top, just like I think right side driving cars are way cooler. Why can't we do that in America?
Interesting.
I don't know.
Joe Biden!
I don't know.
President Biden! Right side driving cars, please. Thank you.
No.
Finally, Davey's not afraid to take
Sorry
on the
to
real
put
issues.
my politics on the podcast,
Dude, that's
everyone.
an easy switch. No problem. I'm sure
Right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
It's going to look so much cooler.
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll get it done for sure.
Then I'll be Carter again. Don't do this to me.
No,
Yeah, we're not going to do that to you. No way. No way.
But real quick before you go, anything else you wanted to get out there, plug, say, just before we wrap up?
Just definitely go check out the video for the song. It's on YouTube. Back to you, Meredith Lamarche. And if you don't, follow me on Spotify because lots
Yes.
of new music will be blasted this year.
Awesome.
That's it, people.
So stoked for that. Thank you so much again,
Yes.
and have a good rest of your day.
It's been such a joy. Thank you guys so much for having me on here. Loved it.
Thank you.
Can't wait to be
Thanks.
back.
Coming in with that outro. Bing, boom,
Boom,
boom.
boom, boom, boom,
Coming in with that outro.
boom.
That's all we got.
Yeah, that's all Max needs.
Yeah. What is that? 4 bars? Done.
Yeah,
Where's the check?
it's in the mail, sir.
Jimmy Iovine said I'm getting paid $1 million.
Oh man. Well, it's
I don't know what your cut is, but
Well, I mean,
I had to do 2 bars.
I have a feeling this is that part of the story where you go on to, fortune and glory, and then I end up, sort of falling by the wayside. And it's like, I was just so excited to be there, and then didn't read the
I
fine
ain't
print.
going without you, dog.
Ah,
I'm dragging you and the rest of these yahoos along with you, right
Fun-
to the top.
Thunder Buddies for life.
That's it, brother. I couldn't say it without choking on the laughter. But it's real.
Definitely.
Did you have a good time?
Always. Yeah, but this in particular, I don't know. Like, I needed the laughter and the conversation to lift my spirits. So, and that's what it did, and I'm grateful for that.
Yes. Yes. Likewise. I felt charmed and entranced, and the time flew by. So we went a little long, and but it was enjoyable. So we presume in our arrogance it's enjoyable for you. If you feel differently, just don't even say anything.
Well, hey, it's I hope
Just don't.
I was gonna say.
Sorry.
I'm the one that's like, leave a comment, leave a nice message. And you're like, no, don't.
No, we're done with that now.
The gloves are off.
Yeah, we finished.
Yeah, we're past episode 30. We're out in international.
We don't even need it. Yeah.
We're in international podcast waters now.
Arr.
No, I really love hanging with her and talking with her, and it's like, whatever you felt watching this as a, podcast enthusiast, it's like that, double when you're around Meredith, just hanging out at a gig or with her and just kind of talking music. She's got a really infectious energy that's just nice to be around, and it's always good getting to talk with her.
Go ahead, and when you check out your music, you're going to feel that vibe. It flows through like all the songs, from the older music of Lamarche the Trio to the new tune, for sure.
Yeah.
Her vibe is real.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's why we talked and enjoyed it. We enjoyed it so much. Where am I going with that?
I don't know, but whenever
You got a little, you know who.
yeah, whenever you do that voice, I think of the girl on the bus from Ferris Bueller. It's like when Ed Rooney comes up and it's
Girl
like
on the bus.
yeah, at the end of the movie, the post credits or the credit scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bow, bow.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope we don't have to license that.
Yeah, and then she's sitting there and it's like, you want to sit next to me? This seat's available. You
Yeah.
want some gummy bears? They're nice and warm. They've been sitting in my pocket all day. Like, whenever you do that voice, that's the first thing I think of.
Okay.
Yeah. If you offer me gummy bears, I won't turn them down.
Yeah, you should. That warmth is questionable.
I don't know where that pocket's been.
Yeah. They got holes. Were those wrapped up? Were they in the package the whole time?
I don't know.
Or are they just commando in the pocket?
Yeah, well,
You can't just hand me candy out of your pocket, even if we're in school. That's not cool.
sometimes you got to sell
But
your...
I was that kid.
Yeah, sometimes you... Oh, I was that kid, too.
Like, can I get a bite of your sandwich? I was like, not if you want to be my friend ever again. You can fuck off.
Yeah.
Here's $1. Go buy something. Like, for real.
Well, hey, sometimes you got to sell your car and uproot your life. Sometimes you got to try candy out of Davey's pocket. Everybody takes a risk every day.
The whole thing is a gamble. You got to go out and make the most of it.
Exactly. So, thank you once again, citizens, for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell your friends. Let's get more people involved in this creative experiment discussion. I will keep making awkward hand gestures. I will keep gesturing over to Davey to do things and be his usual self. And we appreciate you being along for the ride for all of it. So, thank you. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you next week.
Toodles, my noodles.
Sonic City Council was created by Jesse Davidson and Davey Sipes and engineered by Max Taylor at Desert Sound Studio in Palmdale, California. Thank you to Disaster Cabinet for the outro music. Intro music written by Max Taylor. Sonic City Council is produced in association with Amps Music Academy and the Showcase Venue. For more information, visit theshowcasevenue.com.